All right, guys, you asked for it, and here it is. I'm going to try and be as detailed as possible, but unfortunately, when I was getting ready to do this morning, I may or may not have accidentally stripped out the bottom of the screws for my completely fixed PEQ-15. So let's talk about the process to upgrade your mounts. So doing a quick look, we're going to take a look at some of the questions you guys had. One of the questions was, does the Ingall have this same issue? And the answer is, well, no. You can see that the actual lug goes into a metal housing here. This is an aluminum body, and you have two screws here that are actually mounted directly in. So what we're seeing is that this actual assembly is pretty much one and done with this entire rig. So in order for this assembly to break or have any issues, you'll have to first likely strip the two screws here, or not strip, but actually break the two screws that are in here, or you would have to have some catastrophic failure of the mount itself, or the body rather, which I don't see happening. Again, this thing has been robust. I just pulled it off the gun that we've been using it on. 40 pounds of inch-pounds of torque gets us to where we're going, and it's good to go. Now, let's look at the PEQ-15 that I've had absolutely no issues with. So this was my very first one, and you can see that it has this kind of mount. And if just by looking at it, you can tell that it is removable. So we have our actual Picatinny rail lock here. We've got our knurl nut to be able to tighten it down. Remember, you're going to go hand tight, and then you're going to go one full half rotation with some kind of force, like you can use a quarter, or you can use an actual flathead Phillips. But nevertheless, this mount is actually connected in a much different way when we look at how the design is. So inside this packaging, we have our old mount, and I just kind of want to show you kind of how flimsy and terribly designed it is. So here is the original mount. This is the one that we actually pulled off the gun, or off of the one that we JB welded. So on the base, you have two itty bitty watch screws that are made out of the cheapest possible aluminum you can get. And these things are basically recessed inside this piece, which this bar, or this little flat piece of really poor aluminum, mounts directly into the base of the PEQ. You've got two screws that are going to be covered in epoxy. You'll remove the epoxy, and you're going to be able to access these two screws, which are the ones that we've kind of mangled down here. You'll need to save those because your mount's not going to come with one. But we've removed them, and we're able to remove this entire assembly plate off. But what you're going to see is this thing is literally able to be bent with just my hands with very little effort. So again, this is the weakest point of the somogear PEQ-15. To my knowledge, when they redid the reinforcement of the housing, they did not fix this issue. So this is the one that I've kind of JB welded. I have Gorilla glued. I've done all kinds of junk to get this thing to work. But we finally decided it's enough is enough. Let's get the real deal and replace it. So again, this is how it interfaces inside the mount. And when you actually lock it onto your rail, you'll tighten it down here, and it will keep tension so that this doesn't move a whole lot. When it works, and when it fails miserably. So here we are, guys. This is what we need to do. So what we did was we did purchase another Chinese airsoft one, but this is a real deal PEQ-15 mount made by FMA. FMA is, I believe, SOTAC, but these guys make military replicas, and they do it extremely well. This is made from a piece of stainless steel, and guys, when I had to cut into this thing, I can confirm it was extremely tough. So that's really good to know. But the issue that we had whenever we went to install is that the actual assembly from FMA, and I'm assuming for the real PEQ-15, this is not fit in the plastic, because you can see the very edge of this on the metal, right? So the very edge is a little marred up because we had about 1/8 an inch, and I'll throw some visuals from my glasses up on the screen, but we had 1/8 inch too much metal on this actual device. So we had to go ahead and we put this into a vise, and then we just ground off about 1/8 inch of material from this side in order to get this thing to fit. Now, thankfully, screw holes lined up just perfect, but of course I had to reuse those nasty PEQ aluminum screws that were just Chinesium garbage. And of course, one of them stripped when I went to go put some Loctite on there this morning for you guys. I was going to show a video of that, but I went ahead and just got the one screw out, put Loctite on it. So hopefully this thing gives me no issues for years to come. Now, you could reuse your knurl nut, but the one that it comes with is pretty good. It does not have a spring here like the somogear does, so your mileage may vary. If you want to go ahead and reuse your spring, you can. But the other thing that you have to note during this assembly process is this channel right here is going to be too shallow and a little bit too narrow to get this bar, because it's a little bit reinforced. And again, this is one piece, so it's got some molding that goes on here to get this in. So what you're going to have to actually do is get some kind of plastic welder, or I used I believe it was a grinding stone bit on a Dremel to be able to heat it up and melt. And I just melted away a little bit, and you can see a little bit of residue right there. I melted away a little bit here, and then I melted away a little bit there, and then I melted into the groove. That way I wasn't cutting into the plastic. I was just letting it heat up and mold so that I could just kind of re-push it in and get it to lock in. Once I got it hot enough and pushed around a little bit, I went ahead and forcefully set that in, and then it stayed. And after that, I was able to go ahead and get these 2 screws in, and we were in business. So guys, this is the new mount for the PEQ-15. I think that this is going to be the robust solution because, again, this thing I only had issues with was the mounting hardware. Now, somogear offers the Ingall now, which I think is the way to go versus the PEQ-15 and the Ingall. The Ingall has a much better illuminator. It's made out of an aluminum body, but they tell you that the Ingall is not water rated in the least, which I think is just because the aluminum body is not going to take the water too well. But this thing is a little bit waterproofed. It's epoxied, it's coated, it's potted. And honestly, guys, I've really enjoyed it. In fact, I ran this last night just to confirm everything was good. I reconfirmed my co-illumination was there, or collimated, if we want to call it that. But essentially, my IR and my Viz lasers are still slaved. We've confirmed that last night under nods and had some fun there. The illuminator on this one's not too bad. It's not as good as the Ingall, but again, guys, you get a whole lot of value for not having to spend that full power laser price by going to the gray market, aka buying military devices that fell off a truck, or vendors who are willing to lose their license by selling to the public. So guys, if you're interested in the somogear PEQ-15, just know this modification might be for you. I know this is just a lot of talking head. Hopefully I can show you a little bit of stuff that I was working on through the glasses and we'll overlay it, but I wanted to show you exactly where you need to be focused on, because when you buy this, and these are about 14 bucks from eBay or Alibaba or AliExpress, wherever you want to get them, look up the FMA PEQ-15 mount and you'll find it. Remember, you're going to cut an 1/8 inch off this back part, including this. You have to cut through that. That sucks. I just used a metal bit on my Dremel and was able to get it done in a vise. Next, you're going to have to melt out a little bit of this little channel right here and go a little bit deeper. And then if you can find these screws, I'll look for some better screws. I'll get the specifications hopefully and put it in the description if I do find it, to replace those and just grind that one out. Not a big deal. But guys, this is the solution I found, and I think it's going to be great for years to come, hopefully. But if not, man, I still love this Ingall from somogear, guys. If you haven't played with one, if you have been thinking about it, if you've been on the fence, I highly recommend it. We're going to go ahead and get official diffuser caps on here so that we have our NDs on there, or the neutral density filters. But man, I love this thing. So guys, give us a like and a follow if you've been keeping up with our somogear content. Hopefully we will have a laser speed unit, the LSM6, coming in soon that we're going to kind of take a look at, see how it compares to the new Holosun V-Cell that's coming out. We'll be at SHOT Show this week and be able to put our hands on the new Holosun and kind of talk about it. So guys, stay tuned for SHOT Show content. And if you want to see anything particular from SHOT Show, go ahead and comment below and let me know what you guys are excited about. And hopefully we'll be able to cover it in a video this coming week. Thanks, guys.